Who doesn't have too many small appliances cluttering up their kitchen? They all seem like a great idea at the time. That high-speed blender will make all your smoothies. The rice cooker will get used every week. A food processor will allow you to cook more meals at home, and that hand blender will take care of all your salad dressings and whipped cream. And don't even get me started on air fryers, smart ovens, and smart toasters. They all end up taking up space and emptying your wallet, and they probably don't get used as often as they should. Enter the Thermomix TM6. I recently upgraded my older Thermomix TM5 to the TM6 because I'm a fan of this technology. The Thermomix TM6 is billed as kind of an ultimate all-in-one cooking robot, but what is it exactly? What can it really do? Is it truly useful, and what makes it so? I'm Erin from TechGadgetsCanada.com and Tech Gadgets International, and in this review I'll tell you what it's like to own one of these smart cooking robots, how it integrates into your life, as well as about the improvements in the TM6 over the TM5, which are actually substantial. I'll start by explaining what a Thermomix is. In a nutshell, this is a kitchen appliance that looks like an oversized food processor that's been bred with a huge blender, though it's a lot more than that. It has the ability to connect to thousands of online recipes, and it'll guide you through cooking all of them step by step, measuring your ingredients and doing all the chopping, the prep, and even the cooking in this one device. It's pretty shocking, actually, what this machine can do. Let's go over the highlights, and yeah, we've all heard those pitches. It dices, it chops, it whips, it stirs. This magical do-it-all wizardry has been the fodder of many a late-night infomercial, but in this case, it's no sales pitch. The Thermomix TM6 can blend, puree, and liquefy. It can also chop, grate, beat, whip, knead dough, and shred. It can peel vegetables or garlic, and Thermomix also has some other properties that'll blow your mind. It can steam vegetables and fish, cook rice, and make creamy risotto. It can sauté onions and garlic, weigh your ingredients, make you a salad, and even go so far as cooking not just a dish, but an entire meal. Oh, and did you think I was done? No, it can also ferment, sous vide, cook eggs, and work as a kettle. Oh, and it'll wash itself too. Let's take a closer look at what you get with this device. The Thermomix consists of the base, which does need to be close to a plug. The base houses the computer guts and the heating elements. On top of the base sits what's called the mixing bowl, which looks like a giant jug with a handle, and inside is a sharp blade. There is a lidded simmering basket for doing things like steaming vegetables or making rice, and a lid goes on the bowl overall, and it has a removable stopper called the measuring cup. You can remove the simmering basket and instead use the included whisk attachment, which sits over the blade and is used for gentler whipping tasks. You'll also get the Varoma basket, which works when you remove the measuring cup and place it on top of the lid. This 3-piece, 2-layer steamer basket is used for things like steaming fish or even baking cakes, and it can handle multiple different foods inside at once. Now is a good time to talk about what is new on the Thermomix TM6 and what's different from the older TM5 version. The Thermomix TM6 uses the same basic design as the TM5 with the same blade, same bowl design, and same motor, but it's important to mention the bowl isn't actually swappable between models due to some differences in the electronic connectors underneath. While the TM5 had 12 kitchen functions, the TM6 is now able to do 20. The older Thermomix TM5 needed small recipe chips or magnetic discs installed in order to use the guided recipes. The new TM6 has Wi-Fi built in, so instead of needing to load specific recipe books, you get automatic access to the entire Thermomix recipe library using what's called Cookie Do. And while access is automatic, you do need to pay a yearly fee for the library. It costs about $69 Canadian or $55 US per year. You can access the recipes on the robot or using an app or website. The TM6 also has a higher heat mode than the TM5, and it's gone from a maximum of 120 degrees to 160. It also allows for longer heat times, so you can sous vide, which is cooking in a hot water bath, or use fermentation too. The new TM6 has a much larger display screen and adds color for the first time. The measuring cup, which acts as a lid stopper, is now rubberized and fits tightly instead of knocking around as the previous version did. Plus, it also comes with measurements on it, a strange omission in the previous version. That steamer basket I talked about also now has a lid where the one before did not. The spatula has a bit more of a flexible rubberized tip, and the lid on the Varoma steamer basket is now opaque instead of clear, but I actually kept my old clear one. Those are the core differences from the Thermomix TM5 to the new TM6. So let's talk about how a Thermomix works. Despite the somewhat intimidating amount of functions, I found in my testing that the Thermomix is actually really easy to use. You just choose a recipe and the bot will walk you through what to do. It handles the order of tasks, the timing, all the measuring, stirring, speed, and fine-tuning. You just put in the ingredients and follow the instructions. Perhaps the best way to show you what a Thermomix can really do is to cook with it. I made more than a dozen recipes with my new TM6, and we'll start with the first one, which is risotto. Anyone who's ever made a risotto from scratch knows it's difficult. It requires constant stirring and careful attention. For that reason, Thermomix risotto is somewhat legendary because it's able to achieve that perfect risotto creaminess and texture while still remaining toothy. The first task is for you to freshly grate Parmesan. The Thermomix is actually really adept at grating, able to shred it to a very fine degree. The cheese gets set aside, and then onions and garlic are sautéed in the bowl. Some broth, rice, and a bit of thyme circulating around the Thermomix, and in about 30 minutes, you have restaurant-quality risotto. I really wanted to try making a dough, so next up I searched on the Cookie Dough app for a recipe for pretzel buns. The dough comes together really well, and the machine has kind of an on-off mixing style that produces a quick dough. When that's done, you wrap it in parchment and proof it inside the warmed Varoma basket for a few minutes. The final steps are boiling the dough in baking soda water on your stovetop, then baking them in the oven. The pretzel buns came out soft, tasty, and chewy, if not super pretty. Now, one thing to note that actually brings up is that not all of a Thermomix recipe's steps necessarily take place inside the Thermomix. You may also need your oven or your stove, for example. Next up, I decided to make some butter chicken, and the recipe I chose, well, not to my taste and seasoning. I found it a little bit on the bland side, to be honest. The recipe came together well, and I had a bowl full of butter chicken in about 35 minutes. Another night, I made fresh pasta dough in the Thermomix. Using the Thermomix TM6 to handle the pasta dough saved me a bunch of kneading and the associated eggy mess that comes with making fresh pasta. Then, using my KitchenAid pasta roller, I made the dough into delicious little pea-stuffed ravioli. Another feature I fell head over heels for is the peeling. As I noted earlier, the new TM6 has an optional blade cover or peeler insert, and this wavy metal disc just clicks over the top of the blade and it makes peeling just about anything a snap. There's a designated peeling program in the Thermomix, and you partially fill the bowl with water, then add potatoes, apples, carrots, beets, or any other hard vegetable or fruit you'd like to peel. The machine gently swishes the food around the bowl, and after enough contact with that peeler, you'll pull out ready-to-use peeled food that just needs a quick rinse. One of the newer features Thermomix has is the ability to create or import your own recipes. You'll use the app or website interface to input your ingredients, the measurements, and the steps, which is great for adapting family recipes to your Thermomix. On the website, the page to add a recipe is pretty straightforward. You'll just add your ingredient list and the measurements for each, then break down the steps. You can choose settings and options for temperature, speed, and even use the cooking modes that are already built in. The options are a bit daunting, so take my advice and create your recipe well in advance before you want to use it. All the parts and pieces of a Thermomix are dishwasher safe, but one of the easiest ways to clean the basin is to add soap and water and then to just run the motor for 10 seconds. It cleans the inside quickly and easily. If you've got more stuck-on food, you can run what's called the pre-clean cycle, which is an odd name for something you do after it's been used. Just choose this option and walk away. The machine does its thing, and after a few minutes, it'll let you know when it's clean. The Thermomix TM6 also has special cooking modes, and these are essentially shortcuts to common functions, and they include egg mode for making soft or hard-boiled eggs. There's a kettle, a rice cooker, and that peeler mode. To use these modes, just make your choice and follow the prompts. Overall, the new Thermomix TM6 is a major upgrade, and it's a capable, helpful kitchen device. It can truly replace a lot of small appliances and automate many kitchen prep and cooking chores. Plus, you can use it to cook a dish or a meal and not have to worry about overcooking something. Simply saying it's capable, helpful, and effective as a kitchen assistant doesn't really seem to even do it justice. It's easy to use even for people who aren't tech savvy, and there are literally thousands of recipes to choose from. Much like using any recipe website or app, some of those recipes are going to be better for you than others, but that is the beauty of having choice. For the most part, I liked most of the recipes, and being able to automate them with the Thermomix makes life really easy. On the downside, the machine is quite expensive, but it comes with so many accessories and attachments, it will become very versatile in your home, especially when you realize it can replace literally half a dozen other appliances or prevent you from needing to buy them in the first place. It seems like it can more than pay for itself fairly quickly. The Thermomix TM6 is available for purchase directly through Thermomix's website, and you can also choose to receive a special at-home demonstration if you want to try it out for yourself before you buy. The Thermomix TM6 sells for about $2,099 Canadian dollars or $1,499 US, and as I noted, you do need the subscription, the annual subscription I should say, to that cookie dough service, which is $69 Canadian or $55 US per year. If you want to read this review or reference any of what I've talked about here, head over to techgadgetscanada.com for a full write-up. There you can ask me any questions you have about this machine. You can also, of course, post them here in comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Erin. Until the next time, you can find me on either Twitter or Instagram. I'm at ErinLYYC. You can also always catch me on Facebook at facebook.com/techgadgetscanada.